I'm Teisha Bader with Shalom TV's news update for Tuesday, May the 7th, 2013. Reuters reports that UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon has called for the immediate release of 4 UN peacekeepers reportedly being held by Syrian rebels near the border with Israel. Syrian rebel group the Yarmouk Martyrs Brigade said today that they were holding the peacekeepers, who are Filipino, for their own protection after clashes in the area had put them in danger. UN peacekeeping spokeswoman Josephine Guerrero said earlier that the 4 were taken near the southern end of the narrow area of separation between Syria and the Golan Heights, close to the border with Israel. Ban, through his spokesman, condemned the rebels' action and called on all parties to respect the UN Disengagement Observer Force's freedom of movement and safety and security in the region. Haaretz reported that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu promised U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry to, quote, rein in settlement construction until mid-June. The report also cites Army radio saying today that Netanyahu had met with Housing and Construction Minister Uri Ariel several days ago and instructed him to put a publication of new government tenders for construction of housing units in the settlements and Jewish neighborhoods in East Jerusalem on hold. The Prime Minister's office declined to comment to Haaretz on this, and Ariel also did not wish to comment on the story when asked about it today by Army radio. According to the Haaretz report, senior Israeli officials said that Netanyahu pledged to restrain planning and construction in the West Bank and East Jerusalem in light of U.S. efforts to restart Israeli-Palestinian negotiations. The World Jewish Congress adopted a resolution on the rise of extremist parties in Europe today. The resolution, adopted on the last day of the WJC's plenary assembly in Budapest, calls on governments across Europe to create legislation against threats of violence, racist hate, and the denial of the Holocaust, and to seriously consider banning neo-Nazi parties. The resolution specifically calls on Hungary to take action regarding the far-right Jobbik Party and recognize that their ideology and actions pose a fundamental threat to Hungary's democracy. Further, the resolution urges, quote, decisive action by all democratic forces against these contemporary expressions of extremism. And yesterday at the WJC Assembly, elections were held for its top positions. Ronald Lauder was re-elected as the organization's president. Chela Safra from Brazil will serve as treasurer. David de Rothschild from France as the organization's chairman of the governing board. Moshe Kantor, who serves as president of the European Jewish Congress, will now be the WJC's Policy Council chairman, and Mervyn Smith from South Africa, its Policy Council co-chair. Upon his re-election, Lauder said, "I see this as the top assignment for the Jewish people, and I am excited to serve as president of the World Jewish Congress for another 4 years." The Simon Wiesenthal Center welcomed the arrest yesterday of Auschwitz head guard Hans Lipschis, who is number 4 on the center's 2013 Most Wanted list. Lipschis, who is now 93, was arrested by local police in Stuttgart, Germany yesterday. Dr. Ephraim Zuroff, who heads the Wiesenthal Center in Israel, said Lipschis' arrest is a welcome first step in what we hope will be a large number of successful legal measures taken by the German judicial authorities against death camp personnel and those who served in the Einsatzgruppen, mobile killing units, which together murdered more than 3 million Jews during the Holocaust. Lipschis worked at Auschwitz from 1941 to 1945. He had been deported from the United States for lying about his Nazi past. The Student Senate of Oberlin College endorsed a resolution that calls for the school to divest from 6 companies that do business in the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and Gaza. Oberlin College Students for a Free Palestine said the resolution was approved this past Sunday. It calls for the Ohio Liberal Arts College to divest from Caterpillar, Hewlett-Packard, Group 4 Securicor, SodaStream, Elbit Systems, and Veolia. The students group said it would now bring the resolution to the Oberlin College Board of Trustees Finance Committee, which sets the college's financial policies. The Oberlin Student Senate divestment endorsement is just the latest effort of the BDS, or Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions movement, whose aim it is to delegitimize the State of Israel. And finally today, 15 Israeli teen scientists presented their inventions on the streets of New York City today. The 16, 17, and 18-year-olds displayed their technological advancements in a tent in New York's Union Square neighborhood in a special exhibit today called Street Labs, an interactive tech showcase organized by ORT, Schools and Colleges for Sciences and Advanced Technology, Israel's Foreign Ministry, and the Israeli Consulate in New York City. Among the inventions showcased were a handicapped parking protection system, a seizure alerting cell phone application, an allergenic component identifier, a DUI prevention system, and a system summarizing academic articles for students with attention deficit disorder. And that's Shalom TV's news update for Tuesday, May the 7th, 2013. I'm Teisha Bader.